Hey witches, this is Dawn. Welcome to another episode of Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays. This is a collaboration of about 7 witches. It grows, so right now it's 7. We come up with a topic, and then all 7 of us do a video discussing it separately. So you get a different perspective, 7 different perspectives of one particular topic. So this week, the topic is creating sacred space, okay? And I'm really excited because I've got some very interesting information for you. So let's get into this. First off, sacred space is very personal to you. It reflects you in your mindset and what you're trying to create. But I want to give you some very exciting scientific information, some studies that were done by scientists that were also peer-reviewed. So not only did the scientists that I'm going to tell you about were able to create this, but other scientists were able to recreate the same results. So that's very, very exciting. I'm taking the information from this book. I'll show it to you. Okay, so this book is The Intention Experiment by Lynne McTaggart. It's a bit of glare. Okay, so she is a journalist, and she worked with and researched and investigated and talked to the scientists that had conducted studies on prayer, sending intention, and what actually happens, and does it really work? And they have been able to prove over and over again that yes, it does work. So when we witches do our spells, we're basically sending an intention out. So what better way to send an intention out but be in alignment with what science tells us is happening when we do these things. All right, so very exciting. I'm going to tell you about this one experiment that they did, study, I guess, if you will, and it was reproduced by other people, other scientists. Tiller is the name of this scientist who had been able to measure oscillations in the atmosphere, and no matter what they did to the temperature in the Faraday cage stayed the same. No matter what they did, they raised the temperature in the room, they lowered it, they blew fans on it, didn't matter. It all stayed the same. He says that the oscillations he measured had all the hallmarks of a Bose-Einstein condensate. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but it has something to do with accessing the quantum field. Really cool. Okay, a married couple, they're scientists, Graham Watkins and his wife Anita, and they recruited human participants. Many were known for their psychic ability, and asked them to attempt to mentally influence anesthetized mice to wake up early. So what they had to do is take these mice and anesthetize them to find out how long it took for them to wake up, and did it, over a period of time to get a really good baseline, so to get a good average of how long it takes for a mouse to wake up from anesthesia. So what they did is they had the psychic send an intention to the mouse to wake up early, to start waking up. And over time, it eventually got more and more, the mice woke up earlier and earlier. And so they saw that as significant. It's only seconds. But to scientists, that's like, wow, that's amazing. But, we think seconds, like, big deal. But they are seeing that something is actually happening. So what's cool is in subsequent studies, the wake-up times of the experimental mice improved and continued to do so with every study. So there was a growth, a building up of the energy is what they were of this intention. That's what they were getting to. That's what they're seeing. The Watkinses repeated their experiment 7 times. They discovered that the healing had a linger effect. If a mouse was simply placed in the spot on the table where another mouse had received psychic's intentions, the second one would also revive more quickly than usual. So there was a lingering effect. The space appeared to have developed a healing charge, affecting anything that happened to occupy that space. Really cool, you guys. Really, really cool. It's the idea of conditioned space was also explored by former PAIR scientists. Now, PAIR is an acronym for Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research. Dr. Roger Nelson went to sacred sites with something called a random events generator. So think of flipping a coin, and it's very random whether it's going to land heads up or heads down. A random events generator does this randomly, just like you would with flipping a coin. And whenever there's some kind of field, it becomes more organized. So think heads every time, like 5 times in a row, 10 times in a row. That's not likely to happen just naturally. So if there's something going on in the atmosphere, it will organize the random event generator so that it repeats itself instead of being random. Okay, so this guy went to sacred sites. Let's see, he's got a list of them. He carried around a portable random event generator to register any changes in the randomness in the ambient field at various sites, like Wounded Knee, the site of the massacre of an entire Sioux tribe, Devil's Tower in Wyoming, and the Queen's Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Nelson registered highly significant evidence of increased order on the REGs at some sites, as if the location itself contained a lingering vortex of coherent energy. Like, duh, we already know that, right? So maybe an area where people prayed or people died, that energy just stays there. I wanted to say something. Oh, there was a biologist, Bernard Grad, at McGill University in Montreal, Canada, observed a similar phenomenon during experiments with a Hungarian healer. His name is Oscar Estabany. I'm not sure, I'm probably murdering it. Once the Hungarian healer touched something, even fabric, it appeared to hold a phantom charge. The material could be used successfully for healing in place of Estabany's healing hands. Really cool, you guys. Really cool. Okay. So Dean Radin also used a random event generator to investigate whether healing can condition the place. And he found that on the third day, so it had to be repeated. What they were doing, what they were experimenting on, had to be repeated. And on the third day, all 3 of the random event generators began moving away from random activity and becoming more ordered. The intention of the healers also appeared to have effects on background ionizing radiation. So there's a linger effect of intention. There's a charge that is absorbed into the environment. Okay, now if you want another book to read, this book is full of studies that are just amazing at confirming that magic is real. Basically, it does to me anyway, and gives guidelines, which I'm going to give you some guidelines on creating your space. But I'm going to show you another book, Journey into Prayer. This is a father and son team. And what this father and son team did was look at sending prayer to, like, I think they use fungi, and they had people send prayer to it, say prayers for it to recover, and they would, use heat or anything that would, stress it out, and then have healers send prayer to it. And so this is all about their experiments and what they uncovered, which is basically the same, in alignment with what Lynne McTaggart found among all these scientists. So very, very cool stuff here. So keep that in mind. Now I want to tell you that I was cleaning up. Yeah, don't laugh. I really was cleaning up. I was reorganizing my bookshelves, and I had my altar on a bookshelf, a small bookshelf that belonged to Skip, and he wanted to use it upstairs. So I had to take everything off that bookshelf, all of my my altar stuff, and I bought a new one and put it back up there. When I was handling all of those pieces on my altar, I was just dancing with energy. I was bouncing off the walls. It felt really cool, giddy, kind of giddy. And when I was handling the other items, there was, nothing special. But when I handled the items that were on my altar, I felt empowered. I felt energy. And I realized that when I set up my altar, I need to just leave it there. And that's what I'm seeing in Lynne McTaggart's book here about these, charging the environment. Okay. Choose your intention space. This is on page 200 in this book. She says, basically running water is very, very good for the atmosphere because it creates negative ions, and you want a balance of positive and negative ions. Too many of either one is bad for you. You want to, but because we have EMFs and we have dirty electricity and we have pollution inside our house and stuff like that, we want to increase the negative ions to kind of balance that out. So a little fountain, and so I got to get my fountain out. This is where I do all my work. This is where I do my workings. I write my spells here. I cast my spells here. I do my ritual work here. I do all sorts of things here. So I'm going to bring out a salt lamp. If you have a pink, Himalayan pink salt lamp, I've read that it releases negative ions, but that's kind of up for debate. And I don't know if it's a certain amount. Maybe you need a ginormous chunk of Himalayan salt to actually affect the negative ions, or produce enough negative ions to actually make a difference. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. I'm just going to put it here anyway. Bring out my little fountain. Let's see. If you're outside, find a space near running water. That's excellent. But any natural habitat, clear sunshine. Here's something else they found. If when it's really humid and you can see it hanging in the air, see in the distance it's kind of cloudy and humid and whatnot, she says this is not good for sending intention. Clear day, calm wind is ideal for sending out intention. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean it's not going to work at all. It just means it works better if the wind is calm and the sun is out. You have clear skies. After a storm or in the mountains, and it's good to keep your space free of electrical gadgets and computers. Now I have my laptop here because I have my light connected to the laptop. But normally I have all my electrical stuff away from here. So it keeps it clear of electrical gadgets and computers and such. And that's basically it. So really your space needs to represent you. And if you can't leave it set up, it's best if you can leave it set up, but I'm not going to say, forget about it. It's worthless. Definitely get your stuff out, and if you can get your stuff set up in the same place every time, I feel like it's going to imprint on the environment, and so that there will be a lingering charge, and you can keep building that up. And that's what happened with this house. When I moved in, it was noisy. There were knocking on the doors. There were footsteps when there was nobody walking around, the noises, whatnot. I started blessing the house, and I realized that I had to keep doing it every day. And I felt like it was really building up in the house. And now I just do it once a month, and it's quiet. So on the full moon, I cleanse the house, and I bless the house, and it's quiet in here. So I feel like it really built up the charge, and it's in alignment with what these scientists found out. So keep that in mind. And if you can get outside, that works even better because you're in nature. but your space needs to, you know, be something that feels comfortable and it represents you and what you're trying to work and manifest and commune with. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. And please, 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 down below I have links to everybody's their channels, their YouTube channels, so please visit them. They have the same topic this week, and so they will give you their own view on creating sacred space. So also leave comments if you could, because that helps boost our the support of our channels, and that would be greatly appreciated. So do something today that makes you feel good and brings you joy. I love you all, and until next time, blessed be.